Hello, welcome back. So, I have a grand opening. It's been a long time since I've done one of these. I have purchased quite a few things since the last one, but I haven't been doing them on the channel. But I thought I would do this one as it came in today. So, you can see it's from Play Games there. So, I'll go ahead and open it up and then talk about it a little bit. So this, being paper, should be pretty easy to open. Like most of the things that we purchase, um, we are aided by YouTubers who show this stuff off, and it looks like a lot of fun. And I feel like that I'm a selective buyer, and that I will take a while to buy something. I'll watch videos and think about it, but the thing against that is that I have so much stuff. I may not be as selective as I think I am. Maybe I just take a while to think about it. But anyway, this is what we got. So most of you can probably tell what this is. It is History Makers um, all-time, their Hall of Fame. Let's see, what is it called? Cooperstown Complete Card Set. So I guess at one point this was three different sets, maybe four. You got Cooperstown Legends, which is the Hall of Fame, Cooperstown Hopefuls, which are people who might be in the Hall of Fame or pretty close to maybe being Cooperstown Exiles, or those who are probably good enough to be in the Hall of Fame but for different reasons are not. And then Cooperstown Footnotes is people who were interesting for different reasons, like Eddie Goodell, the um, little short guy that pinched hit in 53, I think it was, or maybe 52. I can't remember for sure. But he's carded, so just some interesting things throughout history. So I will say, of all the baseball games I have, uh, History Maker is probably one that I don't play a ton. The main reason for that is card size and quality is a big deal to me, and I know for some people that's probably silly, but it is what it is. So, one reason that I was interested in this set is the cards, as you can see, are about the same size as a playing card or a baseball card, and and the quality is a little bit different than their normal. Um, their seasons. I do know that I think they did a 1998 season where they kind of upped the ante a little bit. And so again, that's just me. History Maker is a great game. They do baseball sim in a way that I can't think of any other game that does. And so very creative and well done. It's just that when I'm playing with cards and dice, it just, for me, the quality of the cards make a big difference. And that, you know, um, I know like Status Pro Advanced is a great game, but the cards are just a little small for me. So again, this is about the same size as an APBA card, because I think an APBA card is the same size as a um, playing card. And I know replay is the same, and I got a replay card here, so let's investigate. So, yep, looks like it's about the same size as an APBA card, which is same size as a replay card, which is the same size as a baseball card, which I think is the same size as a playing card. But so anyway, watching Kirk Berglund and some others play this, it looked like a lot of fun. So, and again, it gives me a chance to get History Maker on my table. Again, you can see I got my History Maker mat. It's funny. This is the only baseball mat I have. It's kind of Field of Dreams motif, as you can see, but it got the History Maker stuff on it. And so reading through, as I was waiting for this to come, I was reading through the description online, and they were talking about how Field of Dreams was kind of their muse for this, kind of like a, you know, if you've ever read the book, which I recommend, I like the book much better than the movie. That's just me. Um, but it kind of gives you that Field of Dreams motif. So, being the replay gamer, most of you know I prefer seasons. And so I keep buying sets like this. I just can't figure out what I want to do with them. I have payoff pitches, legends, and bust. I have replay baseballs, franchise all stars. I have Stratomatics Hall of Fame, all three of their hero sets, and their Negro League all stars. So that's kind of like their complete set of this kind of stuff. But I know all the options, tournaments and King of the Hill and create your own seasons. I don't know if because there's generally so many players that I feel don't know where to start. But I just can't figure out what I want to do with them. So again, I know that there's plenty of things you can do. Just up to this point, I haven't figured out what I want to do. So, anyway, looking through this, I just rewatched again, waiting for it to come. I rewatched some of Kirk Berglund's opening of this and talking about it, and so it looked like a very cool set. Again, you got your Hall of Famers, and then they've got some very good players that you would like to be. I do know there's one player in particular that I was hoping would be in this set and isn't, and that's Big Ted Kluszewski. He's always been a really fun player for me that I enjoy, but I don't think he made the set. And then we got your umpires. Again, another thing that I think Replay has some umpiring options, but not real umpires themselves. And so we got good old Angel Hernandez, everybody's favorite umpire. I think this says he's still going, but I think he finally retired, or they retired him. I think. I don't follow modern baseball much, but you got your really nice sheet here. Again, Keith does a fantastic job with Play Games. I'd say they are probably the biggest up-and-coming game company going right now. They just do so many things well. And so, some suggestions about how you can play this. I think that maybe I may have read, or it may have been one of these other sets that you can, they actually give you some team options. But at any rate, another thing I like about this set is that there's some Negro League players in here, which is some of my favorite players. Let me move this just a little bit. I think it's against my table and it's rocking. And that, I know when I watch videos and it does that, it makes me dizzy. Of course, I get dizzy really easy. But anyway, it's got to be square, or at least close to it. So the Negro League players are in here, which I really appreciate. Some of the Hall of Famers, and I think they've got some that aren't in the Hall of Fame. But a couple things that are cool that I really like about this set is that, as far as I can tell, they pick a year from their history instead of doing like a Stratomatic. They do, I think, maybe 5 years average, which is fine, but I like that they've got the year on it so I can kind of place it in history. I'm a pretty big baseball history fan, so I know a lot of the players, but some of them I don't know, or I don't know exactly when they played. I may know that they're maybe pre-World War II, but that was what pre-war started in 42. The war did, and so that's 42 years of baseball history. So that's a pretty wide area. But they give you, again, a year so I can tell, who they, what time in history they were, and I think that will help me kind of put my teams together maybe. And then also they've got the team that they were with that year, and I like that. Some of these sets, I know, like Replay, for example, they'll have, because that's a franchise all-star, they'll have, 3 Randy Johnsons. And again, I should be okay with that. I just, for some reason, I want to have one Randy Johnson. That's just beyond my fantasy ability, I suppose. So this has just got one player, and they're on one team. I suppose you could divide it up, the teams by time, chronologically. You could divide them up, American and National League. Maybe have 3 or 4 different American leagues and 3 or 4 National League. You could divide it up by teams, or again by regions. So again, there's a lot of options, but I like having the a team and the year on there so that I can kind of place them in history. So again, one thing I did when Kurt did the perforation, it looked like they were pretty good. Again, I prefer pre-cut, but if you get a good, easy to pull apart perforation, where there's not a lot of the little white boogers, that's always a good thing. Let's see, so it seems to pull apart pretty well. You just have to be careful. Let's see how they do this way. Okay, they seem to, when you bend them like that and they break, that's usually a really good sign, because then they just pull apart pretty easily. So very good. So again, very well done. Luke Appling, 1936 for the White Sox. Richie Ashburn from 58. I think that was the year he won the batting title. I know he won 1 or 2. Yep, twice, 55 and 58. So not only like a baseball card, not only do you have their name and everything, you got like a little information. I used to love to read the back of baseball cards. They had those little cartoons of hitters and, base runners and things. And then, the little biographical information. So that's great. That actually just, and I think one reason why I like the cards to have good quality is because to me, they kind of represent the player. And so, the more information, the better the quality. It just, to me, that makes that connection even better. So you got 94 Bagwell. That was a strike year, but they played enough, I think. Looks like he won an MVP in 94. So, and then not only do they have the team that they were that in the year, they also have them color-coded for what they are. So these are Cooperstown legends. And so these are guys in the Hall of Fame. And as I understand it, there's like pioneers. And the pioneers, I think there's pioneers. Yeah, there they are. Pioneers are like older, but some of them are on the Hall of Fame. I think maybe Ruth was a pioneer. But you got Mr. Hank Aaron in 59. Of course, the Braves were in the World Series, and they won 57. Let's see, lost in 58 and just barely missed out on 59. I think it was a playoff with the Dodgers, if I remember. Roberto Alomar, the spitter. Isn't it funny how we remember people for the bad thing that they did? Luis Aparicio, another very good shortstop. So let's see. I won't break these all apart. Mr. Johnny Bench, one of the best of all time behind the plate. Harold Baines, who many feel like maybe is not worthy of the Hall of Fame, or others are more worthy. Ernie Banks, a great shortstop. So they give him semi-gold, I guess, in 58. I don't think Ernie Banks was ever really known for his glove, but maybe he was better than I thought in 58. Again, those things are kind of subjective, and it's not as detailed. That's kind of one thing about this game, is that it's a little bit like APBA Basic in that there's not a lot of detail. Like Fall Classic, which I've been playing a lot of, they've got, it down to their arm strength and their assist strength. They have an assist number, so they could have a weak arm and still throw people out because people are running on them. That level of detail, Stratomatic, they've got a range and an arm rating. Same for replay, but this is a little bit like APBA in that you've got it's actually not as generic as APBA Basic, but kind of that along that same line, which is fine. If I'm not doing a season replay, which obviously you wouldn't be doing that with this, I'm okay with a little bit more of that open-endedness, so to speak. But anyway, let's see who else we got. Yogi Berra and Biggio. They got him rated as a second baseman and a catcher. Let me lower down just a little bit here. We're going to talk about the cards. You want to see them as close as we can. See if that's a little better. And like I said, the quality is just great. Really good job on this. And like I said, I love having the years so I can kind of place them. Wade Boggs, Mr. Burt Blyleven, had a long career. Let's see, Lou Boudreau, shortstop. Mr. Brett, Lou Brock, speedster. So he's got like a triangle where he gets a single and a stolen base. It's kind of like APBA's 11, I think. Ray Brown and Willard Brown, two Hall of Famers. I think they're legends, so they're Hall of Famers, but Negro League, Homestead Grays and Kansas City Monarchs. And they got their years there as well. So again, of all the ones I have, and it could be because this is the newest one, but of all the ones that I have, I feel like this one would be the one I would be more likely to play with. Mr. Jim Bunning, I think he went on to be a senator. He's got a Phillies card. Roy Campanella, who's probably the best hitting catcher, at least in the majors. I think Josh Gibson might have been a better hitting one if you count the Negro Leagues as there as well. Rod Carew. So again, the normal Hall of Famers, Ray Dandridge, Roberto Clemente. So again, you could definitely field the dreams in here. Leon Day, the Newark Eagles. Let's see, Joe DiMaggio, Raleigh Fingers, Bob Feller, 1940, before the war started. Eckersley. They got him as a closer. He was their starter for a long time, but his 92 closing. And another thing they did is they numbered the cards, kind of like a baseball card. So Larry Doby, who's 31, he did some Negro League action, but they got him carded with the 54 Indians, who won the World Series, I believe. I know they were in it. Kind of curious about the Negro Leaguers here. Carlton Fisk, they got him with Chicago. Whitey Ford, Fox, Mr. Josh Gibson, Joe Gordon, New York Yankee legend. Let's see, looking for the Negro Leaguers. I think most of us know the Hall of Famers. Detroit. And you know how it is when you're doing a camera. I might go past 3 or 4 of them and miss them. Barry Larkin. I know Dave Concepcion is in this set. He was my favorite player growing up. Greg Maddux. I got the pleasure of watching him pitch a couple times in real life. He was incredible. Let's see. Eddie Matthews, of course, Milwaukee Braves, one of my favorite teams. Probably my favorite team in baseball history. Got the Seattle Mariner in here. So, let's see. Ducky Medwick. Kirby Puckett. Love Kirby Puckett. I got to see him play in Chicago. He had a double and a single up the middle. Let's see. Tim Raines. There's Frank Robinson. Kind of a pioneer. There's Jackie. They carded him for 49. And I think it's really interesting that they picked a year. Again, there's nothing wrong in a set like this with it being a 5-year run or a 3-year run, but picking out a particular year. Ivan Rodriguez, I got to see him play. One of the at least top 5 catchers of all time, Nolan Ryan. I don't think I got to see him live. I can't remember for sure, though. Tom Seaver. So, again, a lot of names that bring up a lot of baseball history. There's Hilton Smith, Negro Leaguer. Warren Spahn. Again, another Milwaukee guy who I love. Dave Winfield, they carded him with San Diego. I know he played with a lot of people. Cap Anson. Okay, so now we're getting into the Pioneers, looks like. So this is where the legend stops, and the Pioneers. So these guys are in the Hall of Fame, at least a lot of them are. I know Grover Cleveland Alexander is. So we're getting into the Pioneers. I know they got some cool Papa Bell, awesome, 1930. I think he's in the Hall of Fame too, I know. So some of these older ones I don't know quite as well. So they may be here. Oscar Charleston, who's probably my most favorite Negro leaguer. I carded him with the 32 Pittsburgh Crawfords. He started with Indianapolis and had some great years there. And so I think by then he was playing first base, as Kurt Berglund mentioned, but they got him rated as an outfielder. And when in his prime, as I understand it, he was a great center fielder, maybe one of the best ever. Ty Cobb, Eddie Collins, I carded him with Philadelphia. He was, of course, on the 1919 Black Sox team. Let's see, Andy Cooper, Kansas City Monarchs. Again, these 1800 guys, I don't know much about them. So I don't know that I'll include them in my play, but again, having the years is very helpful. Martin Dihigo, great Negro leaguer. Vera Cruz, I think that was either in the Dominican Republic or Cuban League or maybe the Mexican League. I know they played a lot of baseball in those places because they were more welcome there. Jimmy Fox, great player. Mr. Gehrig, always love him. So Buffalo, that's an interesting team. Again, that's 1800. Rogers Hornsby, who, as I understand it, didn't get along with many people. Pete Hill, maybe the best dead ball era Negro League hitter. Walter Johnson. Nap Lajoie. Pop Lloyd. He would probably be competing with Pete Hill as one of the best dead ball Negro leaguers. New York, I don't know what they were called. I don't think they were the Black Yankees yet, but they may have been. But 1915. Biz Mackey for the Hilldale Club. I think they were Hilldale Daisies. So hopefully this isn't boring you too much, but I this is part of the joy of a set like this is getting to go through and, especially if you like baseball history at all. Christy Mathewson, who I love, I always thought he was kind of known as a gentleman, and when baseball wasn't terribly gentlemanly, matter of fact, it was kind of breakneck, as I understand it, back in those days. And then I know he went to World War II, and I'm pretty sure he was gassed there, and as a result, it probably ended his life a little short, if I understand things correctly. Jose Mendez, again with another south of the border team. I'm not for sure which one that is. Mel Ott, Satchel Paige, probably one of the best pitchers in Negro League history, and of course he got to play in the majors some. But they got him with the Monarchs in 42. Ray Chalk, he was on that Negro League. He was on that 1919 Black Sox team, and of course he wasn't involved in it. Babe Ruth, so they got him as a pioneer, and of course we know he was in the Hall of Fame. Bullet Joe Rogan, another great pitcher in the Negro Leagues. Luis Santop, Hilldale Club. Ed Roush, Cincinnati Red. He was on the 1919 Cincinnati club that beat that 1919 White Sox team. Turkey Stearns, Mule Shuttles, two great Negro Leaguers there. Cristobal Torriente, he's with Chicago. That was the Chicago American Giants. George Sisler, of course, great St. Louis Brown. Honus Wagner, the Weiner brothers. Willie Wells, I think he was called the Devil. Great shortstop. Cy Young, of course. Judd Wilson, excellent. Homestead, so that's the same year they carded Oscar Charleston. Okay, so now we're getting out of the Pioneers into the hopeful. So this is where, there's a lot of players that, you might think should be here, but this is the players that aren't in the Hall of Fame but would make the set even more interesting, like Dick Allen, who's, I believe, in the Hall of Fame now. Jim Abbott, of course, he only had one arm, so very cool story. Vida Blue, Albert Bell, not everybody's favorite player. Bobby Bonds is a great player in his own right. Bill Buckner. Will Clark, I always enjoyed watching him play. He had a great swing. There's Concepcion. So not only are they the hopefuls, you would think maybe more modern, but, like Jack Coombs there. Al Dark, great player. That's interesting. In 53, he was actually playing with the New York Giants. He wasn't with the Braves in 53. I'm almost positive of that. Dom DiMaggio, Joe's brother, very good player in his own right. Cecil Fielder. George Foster, another Cincinnati Red. Franco, who was a Red for a while. So, again, when you get these hopefuls, if you pick a year for them, they're going to match up as well as the Hall of Famers. Most Hall of Famers make it because they were good for a long time. And so these guys who aren't necessarily in the Hall of Fame still, had Hall of Fame years. Foster 77, he hit 50 bombs that year. So, not too many people do that. Dwight Gooden, again, he was excellent in 85. Mark Grace, one of my favorite players. Had a sweet swing, not a lot of power for a first baseman. Got 78 Guidry. Awesome year for him. Ken Griffey Sr. I know Griffey Jr. is in here. So you can do father or son if you'd like. Todd Helton or Hershiser. I actually saw him pitch in Pittsburgh in 1988. Barry Bonds homered and doubled off of him, and I think he won the Cy Young that year, but he didn't do well that game. Elston Howard, good Yankee catcher. Bo Jackson, Frank Howard. Keith Hernandez, who loves Stratomatic, so that makes us all love him. Jeff Kent, Harvey Kuhn, Kenny Lofton, so Sparky or Mickey Lolich in 71, and I think I saw the Bird, Mark Fidridge, on here against his 76 year. Carl Mays was a good player. I'm pretty sure he's the one that killed the Cleveland shortstop. I forget his name, but that was in 1920. And so that made a lot of changes in the game. Don Newcomb, very good Dodger pitcher. Dave Parker, he just made the Hall of Fame, I think, with Dick Allen. Vada Pinson was very good in 61. I've played about half of the Reds that year. And he was very good. Albert Pujols, of course, I think he's in the Hall of Fame now. If not, he will be when he gets a chance. Al Rosen's 53 was a very good year. I'm playing that in Fall Classic, 1953. Johnny Sane, Spawn and Sane, Pray for Rain. Urban Shocker, another St. Louis Brown. Darryl Strawberry, Frank Tanana. I saw him, he was with the Angels, and I saw him pitching in Detroit. He's a left-handed pitcher, and we were trying to guess when he would throw to first, and I would have been picked off just about every time because I could not read his move. Of course, I'm not a professional by any stretch. Rusty Staub, and that's actually the first year of the Montreal Expos, so that's cool. Louis Tion, who just passed. Fernando Valenzuela, 81. I believe he was the Rookie of the Year that year. Johnny Vandermeer, another Red. I think he had back-to-back no-hitters. If I remember, he's the one. Lou Whitaker, along with Alan Trammell. Bernie Williams. I think Adrian Beltre may be in the Hall of Fame. Eddie Yost, I believe he was known as the Walking Man. Yep, he was. Maury Wills, who I think in '62, that was the year he broke the stolen base record. Jim Booten, Mr. Ball 4. Okay, now we're in the footnote. So when did that start? Okay. So it started with Alvarez. So you can read these to figure out why they're in there. Maybe Beltre wasn't in the Hall of Fame. I may be thinking of somebody else. But that'll be interesting. So that's why Booten is in here, because probably of his book. Joe Charbonneau was kind of a one-hit wonder in 1980, I think. So that'll be interesting to kind of see, why they're there. There's Eddie Goodell. So again, I don't know why you would want to put him in here, but it's interesting. I guess if you need a walk, you can put him in. Okay, so Frank Duncan, another Negro Leaguer, in here in the footnotes. Interesting. Joe Garagiola, we all know him mainly for his announcing. Pete Gray, who was another one-arm player, like Abbott, 1945. Harvey Haddix was actually very good. Kid Gleason, I think he was the manager of that 1919 Black Sox team. So just seeing Michael Jordan card. That's interesting. His minor league stint. Joe Nuxall. Okay, so they carded him for his, I think he broke in at 15, 1944 during the war. And he came back and had some decent years, but they carded him for 44. So you could have a 15-year-old who gets, I remember, I think the only game he started was against the Cardinals, and Stan Musial beat him up pretty good. Sadahara O, which is really cool. Get a Japanese player in here of renown. Quisenberry, good reliever. Jerry Royce, J.R. Richard, that's kind of a footnote, but his 79 card is very good, so he can compete very well with the Hall of Famers. Eddie Taubensee. Not for sure why he's in here. Bob Bucher, who just passed. Herb Washington, who was only a pinch runner. Then you get into the exiles. So, again, you got Hall of Fame quality people who aren't in for different reasons, like Bonds and Clemens, Shoeless Joe Jackson, Pete Rose. So there's not too many of them. Swede Risberg, another guy from that Black Sox team. And, again, some Sosa, some of the steroid era guys, and that's it. So, again, just going through that is a lot of fun. Again, a few players like Ted Kluszewski I'd like to have seen in here. I also was looking for Del Ennis. Again, I'm a big fan of the 50s. Gus Zernial would have been another one, but again, you can only have so many, and that's one of the problems with my Stratomatic is that with the Heroes and the Negro Leagues and the Hero sets, it's just so many players you don't need to start. You don't know where to start, and it's kind of the same with the Legends and Bust. So with this set, I think it's quite a bit more manageable, because there's just not as many, and so we'll see how it goes. But anyway, thanks to Kurt Berglund for being my pusher. And again, I know even on my own channel, people will make comments about how that, they saw something that I was doing and it caused them to do it, which is good. I mean, that's a service, you get a good idea about what you're getting. So, I mean, even here, going through all the cards, you can see what they look like and who's in the set and who's not in the set. And so that will help you decide if it's something that you want to buy. And so, again, the cards are great. History Maker is a great game. And so I'm going to see what I can do with that, and hopefully I can get something put together that I can figure out to do with a set like this that I would do more than just a game or two. But at any rate, I appreciate it very much, and I'll see you next time.